Welcome back, Hive Mind. This is Shalazar with Hive Mind Gaming, coming at you with another Summoner's Glory video. Today we're going to take a look at all the stats and effects you can get with gear. Now, it's important to note that the higher level your gear, as in the higher number of stars you have, the better numbers you're going to get on these stat and effect increases. Also, when it comes to gear, you can always evolve your gear. Just like you evolve your champions, you can evolve your gear. You can level it up. You can actually re-roll the stats on it as well, or re-roll the special effects on it as well, to get that perfect set of gear. Now, keep in mind, when you're re-rolling, you're going to be re-rolling, and you could lose the best things about your gear as well. So you got to be real careful when you're re-rolling your gear. So let's get into what are some of the things you can look for, and keep this list so that when you're looking at gear and you're looking at best in slot of what you want on your gear, you know what you have the possibilities of getting. I will put a link to this in my description, in the description of this video. Now, this list was created by Hellspawner on the Discord, Summoner's Glory Discord server, and this PDF was designed by Starco Gaming, who is also another content creator. So thank you to those two guys for putting this together for our viewing pleasure. So let's get into this right now.
But first, let's talk about you creating a character for Summoner's Glory. If you're new to Summoner's Glory and you want to start your own account, make sure when you get to this screen where you're creating your character, whether it be male or female, down here at the bottom, it'll be a promo code, a spot for a promo code. Put promo code Shalazar in there, and that will help support the channel and get you some free swag. And that's the important part, right? You getting free swag. So just make sure you stick it right in there, Shalazar, while you're creating your character. If you pass this point, you won't be able to go back, so make sure you get it in there before you hit the create button. So, all right, back to our regular scheduled program.
All right, so first we've got the speed boost, which is the speed increases by X amount. Now, this is a solid ability. If I could put this on every single one of my abilities or gear, it would be on there. This is going to help increase the speed of your phantoms. So you definitely want that on your gear. This is going to help increase the speed of your character. So the faster you are, the more attacks you get in, and the better chance that you're going to be able to land that ability that you need to land to either CC your opponent or just kill them outright. All right, the next we've got Elemental Resist. X% less damage from elemental phantoms. So this is going to be less. It's going to be a niche ability. It's going to be mostly against specific types of phantoms. Now, this could actually help when you're doing boss runs. If you have specific gear designed around taking less damage, for instance, from certain types of elements, then you can design your actual dungeon runs based on that, so that you could just hey, this gear's set to protect me against the Sea King, so let's go and deal with that guy. Oh, okay, let's put our water resistance. I mean, again, that's a lot of extra work for just a little less damage that you take. I don't know if I would care too much about that. It's definitely a good ability to have if you know you're going up against that specific phantom, like in a dungeon. Immortality has HP increased by X%, so this is also really good because, especially when you're doing damage with equipment that is based on your HP level, or getting shields or heals or things like that that are based on HP. This is all things that can help you. The immortality effect can definitely help you with that. Deliverance is a resistance increase by X%. Now, this right here, I would rather have than the elemental resist, because it gives you the actual just resistance to receiving debuffs, which is always good. Across the board, always good. This is going to help you in arena, where you're facing other players and their phantoms, things like that, because let's face it, resistance, higher level you get, resistance and accuracy are two of your most important stats. And the reason is because those debuffs that you're landing need accuracy. And the accuracy, basically what happens is when you attack someone, it's going to check your accuracy to see if you have enough accuracy to land that debuff versus their resistance. So the higher their resistance, the less likely your debuffs are going to land. But the higher your accuracy, then the better, the more it levels out the playing field and gives you a better chance of landing those debuffs. So keep that in mind. This next one, Perseverance, is the accuracy increase, which again, those two coincide with one another. So I know with one of your runes, when you're dealing with phantoms, you have to choose between resistance or accuracy. Well, they're both important, so just keep that in mind. All right, so MRES stands for magic resistance. So your magic defense increases by X%. So this is going to help you against magic attacks. The next one is PRES, which is physical resistance, and that means your physical defense increases by X defense. Again, these are based off of phantoms and characters. If you're going up against arena, then you're dealing with phantoms or characters that are doing magic attacks. Your magic defense or magic resist is going to help you with that. Your physical resist, which is going to be your physical defense increase, is going to help you against phantoms and characters that are throwing physical attacks at you. So keep that in mind. Your outgoing is damage dealt increases by X%. So this is really important to have a good idea that your damage dealt increases by X amount. So it doesn't mean what kind of, you're not specifying a specific type of damage. The great thing about outgoing is it doesn't matter what damage you're doing, it's going to increase it. It can be magic damage or physical damage. It doesn't care. Outgoing is a really good effect. All right, then we've got Peak, which is physical attack increases by X%, which is only physical attack. Blood Peak, character attack increases by X% of HP. If coupled with Immortality, which gives you a greater max HP, this could be really good together because your character attack increases by the X% of max HP. So your HP determines extra damage that you're going to be doing, which is really good. Wrath is character crit rate increases by X%. So it's important to get your characters to 100% crit rate, as close to 100% crit rate as you possibly can. And this is going to allow them to do extra damage. Having extra crit damage does you no good if you never crit. So crit rate is more important at first than crit damage. When you're leveling up, you want all the crit rate you could possibly get to do that extra crit damage. That what little crit damage you have, it's to do that little bit of extra damage. Then once you get to in-game, then you can start looking at crit damage and crit rate, because your numbers start getting bigger, and you start, because your gear is leveled up or higher level, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Once your gear is higher level, you start seeing bigger numbers, so it's easier to hit those 100% crit rates. And once you hit that 100% crit rate, then you want to start stacking on your crit damage for maximize damage potential. So, which brings us into the next one, which is brutality, which is crit damage increases by X%. So, I mean, as you can see, everything starts building up and you start getting better numbers the higher your levels go. All right, returning at the start of character turn restores X% of total HP. Again, awesome ability, because it's a heal every single turn. Let's face it, if you had speed boost and returning on every single piece of your gear, win. It's a win. Survivability. They're going to have to do enough burst damage to get through all that healing every single turn. It's fantastic. All right, next, charm. Chance to reduce incoming damage by X%. So this is going to kind of like the outgoing, which is damage dealt increased by X%. Doesn't matter what kind of damage you're dealing, you're just getting more bang for your buck. Well, charm is just the opposite. It's a chance to reduce incoming damage by X%. Doesn't matter what kind of damage it is, you're reducing it. All right, then we've got control. Character deals X% more damage to enemies under control effects. So, if this is the only one you've got, then I don't necessarily think I would get rid of it, because one, you're going to want lots of debuffs to be used on your enemies. So control is not bad, because we want the enemy to be either frozen or stunned or slowed, or just many different control effects that we can use on them. This is one of them that we can benefit from using when using those abilities. So this is not necessarily a bad one. Steadfast. When character is under a control effect, they take X% less damage. Now, so this one is not as good as the charm, but it's still not bad, because this is saying if you're being controlled somehow, like a slow or a freeze or a stun, then you're going to take less damage, because you're the most vulnerable when those effects are on you. So this is going to help you protect yourself when those debuffs are on your character. All right, shield break. Character deals X% extra damage to shields. This is really good, because this is going to allow you, when shields get thrown up, this is going to allow you to do the extra damage needed to punch through the shield. So not bad at all. Puncture. When the character deals damage, defense piercing is increased by X%. All right, so what does that mean? So when you're dealing damage and you're throwing a magic attack at someone who has high magic defense, this is going to allow you to punch through that magic defense by X%. And if you're doing physical as well, and they have a high physical defense, then it allows you to do punch through by X%. So it doesn't matter what kind of damage you're doing, whatever their defense is helping you punch through their defense. All right, next, high time. At the start of your turn, character receives 3 enchantment energy. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means nothing if you don't have enchantments. But if you get to the point where you're high enough level to actually use enchantments, then your screen is going to look like this. So your enchantment area is going to look like this. Now, if you see this area right here, this the little circle with a number in it, that's your energy that's your enchantment energy. So basically, it typically goes up with how many turns you've had, because you get one every single turn. All your enchantments are able to use when you reach a specific energy. Once you hit that energy, and that's for that specific enchantment, you can use that enchantment. So with this high time on your gear, you're going to receive 3 enchantment energy at the start of every single turn instead of your normal 1, which is huge. That means you're going to be able to use your abilities a lot faster. Now, that takes us to the next one, equanimity. I'm sure I mispronounced that. I blame my mom. She has a weird way of pronouncing things, so I blame her. Anyway, love you, Mom. All enchantments cool down 1 turn faster. Now, what does that mean? Well, so I told you that each enchantment has a number that you have to reach in energy before you can use it. Well, once you use that enchantment, it gets a cooldown, meaning that you can't use it again until it's off cooldown, and then you've got to have enough energy to actually use it again. So what this is going to do is this is going to make it come off cooldown 1 turn faster. So all enchantments, so if it comes off a cooldown in 10 turns, then it's going to come off a cooldown in 9 turns. By the way, if it's 9 turns for cooldown, odds are you'll probably only get to use it once, maybe twice per game. So just keep that in mind, especially in arena. Arena fights should be really fast, because the faster your champions, the quicker your fight's going to be, etc. So I mean, that's just the way it's going to work. All right, next we've got Ode to Life. When an enemy dies, 1 enchantment energy is restored. So what does that mean? So that means if you kill an enemy, any enemy, then you restore 1 enchantment energy. So that circle is going to get 1 better. So that means you're going to be able to use your enchantments a lot faster. Which brings us to Last Will. When an allied phantom dies, 4 enchantment energy is restored. Ouch! So it hurts when you lose a phantom. Absolutely hurts. Hopefully, with this 4 extra enchantment energy, it's going to help you get back on top. Alright, so energy source. Each turn, enchantment energy increases by 1. That's fantastic, because that means you're getting 2 energy per turn, which is great, because that means it basically cuts the energy cost of your enchantments in half. If it's normally a 6 enchantment energy to use one of your enchantments, it's now going to be ready in 3 turns instead of 6. So that's a really good ability. All right, energy economy. All enchantments cost 1 less energy. Not as good as energy source, but still pretty darn good. All right, healing. Healing received by the character increases by 10%, which is also good. Because if you've got someone like Dark Gesture, which everyone will eventually have because he's a login bonus. So Dark Gesture is going to be healing your team. And because he's healing your team, you're going to get 10% more healing. Your primary character is going to get 10% more healing. So, I mean, it's good. It's not as good as a speed boost, but it's still good. Dawn. Characters deal X percent more damage to targets with HP above 10%. Alright, so what that means is that you're dealing more damage to targets with HP more HP above 10% more than you. So, bosses. This is going to be really good against bosses or tanks even. So tankier characters and or phantoms, this is going to help you deal with them. Desperate healing. Every time the character loses 30% HP, healing received increases by X%. So it's just a limited version of the healing, which just increases 10% of the healing that you receive, where this can actually go up past 10%. So, but it's obviously dictated up past 30%. So all of these next few ones are going to be based on once you've hit your 30% mark. So Desperate Faith, resistant increases by X%. Desperate Peak, attack increases by X%. Desperate Wraith. So if you see a trend, these are all the same things that are up above, but are limited to you have to be 30% HP or less, and you have to have lost 30% HP. Now keep this in mind that this is loses 30%. I think I said it wrong just a second ago. It's loses 30% HP. It's not that you're down to 30% HP. So I may have said that incorrectly. So you take a 30% HP loss, then this kicks in. These things kick in. So attack increase by X, crit rate, crit damage, physical defense increases, magic defense increases, outgoing damage increases, damage taken is reduced, and speed increases. So all of these are really good, but they're situational, right? You have to take 30% loss of damage. So this is going to kick in 3 times. It's going to kick in when you go down to 70% HP. It's going to kick in when you drop down to 40% HP, and it's going to kick in when you go down to 10% HP. So keep that in mind. All right, so not bad though. It's definitely not a bad thing. Let's see. Elemental Power summons an elemental phantom. Character attack increases by X%. So this is going to give you an extra, I guess the best way to put it, a pet. So he's going to summon, and then your character attack increases by a specific amount. All right. Invigorating Elemental summons an elemental phantom. Character's max HP increases by X%. Now, these pets are what's increasing these things, by the way. It's not that you're summoning a phantom and they're attacking and they're doing all this crazy stuff. No, it's just you're summoning a elemental phantom that is giving you an increase to your attack or an increase to your max HP, that kind of thing. All right, Anti-Elemental. Character deals X% more damage to elemental phantoms. Elemental phantom. So this is going to be a specific type of phantom. And let's see. Damage Reflection. Reflects X% of the damage taken, which is pretty good. Poison Trap. When taking damage, X% chance to poison target for 1 turn, which is really good. Poison's so Poison Trap. I mean, poison is a pretty good debuff. It ticks for a little extra damage. The fact that it's only for 1 turn, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not the best one. Confusion Trap. When taking damage, X% chance to confuse target for 1 turn. That one's pretty good because confusion is a really good debuff. Lethargy Trap. When taking damage, X% chance to plunge target into lethargy for 1 turn. So this is basically going to make it not want to do anything, which is again another one. But if you hit it, I believe that knocks him out of lethargy. Bleeding Trap. When taking damage, X% chance to make target bleed for 1 turn. Again, like poison, this is going to only be for 1 turn, and it's going to tick for a little extra damage. But it's extra damage, so yeah. Ice Trap. Now this is the really good one. When taking damage, X% chance to freeze target for 1 turn. Now this is fantastic because it freezes them, meaning they can't do anything. You can continuously attack them. You could do whatever you want at all, and it does not matter. It won't break them free, nothing. They just take the damage and they're frozen. So they lose their next turn, basically. Slow Trap. When taking damage, X% chance to slow target for 1 turn. So what that's going to do is that's going to slow down their turn meter, meaning they're going to take less, they're going to attack, they're going to get their next turn in a slower time frame. And hopefully that means your phantoms and your main character are going to be able to come back around and get a second attack before they get a first one. Paralysis trap. When taking damage, X% chance to paralyze target for 1 turn. Kind of like the lethargy trap. It kind of just like puts them to sleep kind of thing. But I think if you hit them, it will break them out. All right, stun trap. When taking damage, X% chance to stun target for 1 turn. Again, this is a really good ability because it stuns them and it allows you to do whatever you want, and they lose their next turn. Conflagration trap. Again, chance to set the target on fire for 1 turn, like the poison and the bleed. It just does extra burn damage. This is really good against phantoms that have invulnerabilities to fire, things like that. Poison tactics. When dealing damage, X% chance to poison target for 1 turn. So the next few ones, all the tactic ones, are going to be just like the trap ones, but when you're attacking. So the trap ones is when you're getting attacked. So the tactics ones, you've got the poison, which does poison, has a chance to give them poison when you attack. Confusion, to confuse them when you're attacking. The lethargy, the bleeding, the ice, slow, paralysis, and stun, and conflagration. So it gives you a chance to do all those different debuffs to them as you're attacking. All right, so the last couple, the elemental protection, summons an elemental phantom. Character's physical defense increases by X amount. Elemental magic, that summons a elemental phantom where you increase your magic defense by X amount. And then the finisher, it seems realistic that should be the last one. Character deals X% more damage to targets with HP below 40%. So once they reach the 40% or lower mark on their HP, you're doing more damage to them. So blood in the water. It's kind of like a shark, blood in the water. All right, so which one of those should we be looking for when building our gear or evolving our gear? Speed boost is number 1. We always want our speed to be the highest we can possibly get it. So speed boost is the number 1 thing you should be looking for. Immortality is always great because survivability is key. Ice tactics is really good. Stun tactics is really good. And returning is really good. So just keep those in mind. There's a few others that are still pretty good, and I wouldn't necessarily roll off of them if I didn't have to, but these are the 5 you want to look for sure. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like what you've seen and you want to see more, hit the like button and join the Hive by hitting the subscribe button, and we'll see you on a video soon. Bye-bye.